You are listening to Basement Chronicles with Lisa Dublin, episode number 48. Hey, you made it! Welcome to my basement. I'm Lisa Dublin, a health and life coach, and I help professional and executive women to live, lead, and speak with confidence. Because you know what? Developing your confidence and deepening your faith in God is the best formula for an amazing life. So, are you ready? Let's go. Hi everyone, thanks for being here with me. I'm super delighted to be back on the pod, and I hope you don't think that I've abandoned you guys. It's not that, it's just that life has been very busy, but it's not just busy. It's something I want to discuss with you today. So, as you know, when I last left off, I had started a new program called Find Your Fire, and I'll put the link to that in the show notes. Now, I love this new baby so much that I was really planning to create a new podcast called Find Your Fire. And you guys, this is what has happened. I had been thinking about this new podcast for months. I thought I would do, one episode of Find Your Fire, then one episode of Basement Chronicles. But that was wishful thinking indeed, because you know what? Life does not work that way. I've been the person preaching about focus, about mastering one thing, and I proved how right I was because when I tried to focus on two things at the same time, I got nothing done. Now, that's not to say that there are not people who can't multitask successfully. One of my podcast mentors, a guru in the field, his name is Pat Flynn. He has produced the first podcast called Smart Passive Income. He did that for years before also going on to produce some other podcasts now at the same time. But this was after he had totally dominated his lane with the SPI or Smart Passive Income podcast. I, Lisa Dublin, I am nowhere near there yet. And so I don't have the capacity or the resources to produce two podcasts. And so after all of this indecision and frankly just being stuck and blaming it on how much work I was doing and how I was just being there for my coaching clients and how life had just gotten busy, I finally came to my senses one day at the kitchen sink. I kid you not. And I love these flashes of inspiration. And if you know me, you know that I believe very deeply in the power of the Holy Spirit to just give you strategy that you would not normally have. And then I realized, wait a minute, no, I can just simply continue with Basement Chronicles. And, I get to decide the subject matter. And it's already a brand. I already have credibility and an audience. Why am I even trying to change course now? So today, we are going to delve into the reasons that we get stuck. As you all know, my signature coaching program is literally called How to Get Unstuck Total Transformation Coaching Package. And so you can access that page on my website with the link in the show notes. And also you can book a complimentary connection call with me there. But today, let us discuss the ways that we get stuck in life, and then perhaps how can we get unstuck? How can we unstick ourselves? So I hope you're ready for this. From my experience just being stuck with the podcast for the last couple months, I actually pulled out 1 to 3 reasons that we get stuck, and I've added a couple more to apply to other situations besides not being able to produce a podcast. So here goes. Reason number 1. You're stuck because you're trying to do a new thing. I think we often underestimate how much time it takes to create something new. Even though, for example, I have been producing a podcast already, a new podcast, it still required a lot more time, energy, and effort. And anytime you are creating something new, you have to give yourself grace and extra time, like double the amount of time that you really think it's going to take. And you have to prepare. I don't think I realized that I was stuck at ground zero with that initial question of, oh my goodness, like, how am I even going to start? That was my first question. Honestly, I was like, okay, I know I have an intro for Basement Chronicles. what is going to be my intro for Find Your Fire? And that question stumped me and prevented me from moving forward. I didn't plan because there was not enough time to do so, and because I frankly just underestimated how much time it would take. And so that is one of the first reasons. Know that perhaps you are stuck because you are trying to do something new and you've underestimated how much time, energy, and effort it really requires. If I were doing it all over again and bringing a new podcast to completion, whatever date I have in mind, I would then add on 8 weeks, literally, and then work backwards from that new deadline to see if I could get it to market, if I could get it produced. Just simply shift the time to a time in the future when you know that you would have had enough time to prepare thoroughly. Now, you can do that, or you can just decide to do point number 2. And point number 2, or the second reason that we are stuck, is because you're trying to do something new when the old one works just fine. You're not motivated because there is no reason to be. So, take a second look at what you think is old or tired or boring and decide, can I just spruce it up? So, for example, I'm doing a new podcast cover and going deeper into how to produce my podcast so I get more downloads and so on. Because frankly, I was getting a little bored and frustrated. And I think that is why I had already decided, you know what, let me kind of phase out Basement Chronicles and move into Find Your Fire. But can you just fix what is not working in this old thing? I took a good look at what I had already created and I realized that Basement Chronicles is already a brand. And it's actually a brand that I actually love. It started during the pandemic. People have grown with me. They saw me at the bottom of my stairs with the bad makeup doing Basement Chronicles. And here we are today. Makeup a little better, I hope, and podcast also a little better. So why change it? I thought that I could not speak about speaking in this podcast when the truth is I've done it over and over again within Basement Chronicles because I am equal part speaker and equal part life coach. So there is no way I would just come on a podcast and just speak about speaking or just speak about life coaching. And so I realized I actually have the opportunity to make Basement Chronicles what I really want it to be. So the art of speaking, also about the art of doing life. One process definitely informs the other. And I realized, like some other podcasts that I looked to and that inspired me, for example, the S2S podcast with Eric Thomas, CJ Quinney, Carl Phillips, and the 9 to 5 Millionaire, I realized that, wait a minute, you know what? These people are doing life and they are speaking, and that is what I would love to do as well. And so I guess Basement Chronicles will always chronicle my life, my speaking, my advice to speakers, and it will also appeal to people who are just doing life in general. So that's the point. Stop chasing the shiny stuff. Dust off the old. Spruce it up. And don't discard all that capital you've built up. Let's move on to point number 3. The third reason that you're stuck. It could be because you are trying to get to level 10 without having done level 1. Oh my goodness, I see it all the time. What you need to do, start at level 1 and immediately you will realize that the goal will seem more manageable. You might be trying to climb too high on the first try. Just the thought of it discourages you because you can't reach that far because you haven't interfaced or treated with or you haven't got into the thing as yet. So the goal seems so lofty. So here's the solution. Reverse engineer the goal into small doable steps. And guess what? Start with step number 1. The fourth reason that you might be stuck today is because you do not think you have the capacity to take on more. When I tell you I have stretched my capacity this year, we're only in October at the point of recording this podcast, and already I'm in my second Speak with Confidence workshop. In fact, one of those is actually in person for the first time. And of course, yes, I am tired, but the work must be done. And I didn't think I could have done it this year, honestly. I had all the excuses. I had already shelved certain things, but then I was like, you know what? It's now or never. I better start that process so that I can, get through the hiccups and begin to produce the quality and the excellence that I want my programs to be known for. I cannot do that if I don't start and start immediately. So that's exactly what I had to do. And I'm just stretching myself every single day, doing it with as much joy as I can, taking lots of naps during the day as required by my body, and getting up and going again. I think if we just simply expanded our mind to be enough, we would be in a better place. We would be able to accomplish more. We keep on telling ourselves we are too tired, too stressed, too busy. And with that kind of mindset, guess what? We end up doing nothing. So what if today you didn't give yourself a choice? What if today you said to yourself you have capacity? What do? Today, get to work and don't think about it. Do what you can do today, all that you can do today. Work until truly you cannot do anything else, and that will set you a baseline of what your capacity truly looks like. Many times we stop halfway because it's not that our bodies are tired or our minds are tired, but it's only because we have told ourselves that we can't go any further. What if you said today, yes, I can. I have all that I need to accomplish all that I must today. The next reason that we stay stuck, it's because we are waiting on permission to begin. I remember during the pandemic, there was a little meme I used to put out often, and it came from within me. It came from my heart. And I was looking at the pandemic and looking at all the opportunities before everybody, and I kept on reminding my audience, my people, I would say, no, seriously, opportunity is staring you in the face, and I still mean it that way. I had this experience once of winning a huge poetry slam in St. Lucia. It was a national competition thereabout, and I won. I won it twice, but I'm talking about that incident in particular. It was quite a big deal. I was very proud. Guess what happened? The next year, when the media company hired to advertise the next iteration of this poetry slam, they used the footage from the year that I won. And they took footage of, I kid you not, the first runner-up, the second runner-up were used in the promotional material. My picture was never there. My footage was never there. My video was never there, almost as if I had never taken part. And I think it was from that experience I really resolved within me never to wait on people to validate me or to tell me that I am who I am. You know why? Because for whatever reason, I don't even know why. It's not that they didn't have the footage. I was the winner after all. So they had the entire proceedings. They could have chosen what they wanted. Why would you not take the winner? But anyway, forget that. It doesn't even matter because it didn't happen to me. It happened for me. So from that time, I think I resolved never to wait on people to discover me. And I say that to you today. One of the reasons you might be stuck is because you are waiting on someone to tell you that you are okay, that you can do this, that you have the right to do this. Don't wait. It might never come. Look at my example. Even after having won, I didn't get that validation, but I didn't let it stop me. So stop waiting on people to discover you because they themselves might be narrow-minded, short-sighted, and just small thinking. So you give yourself the validation. You be the person who spies yourself in the crowd. You write your first contract and sign it over to yourself. Stop waiting on people to discover you and begin. Give yourself permission. Write your own permission slip to yourself. The next reason we can be stuck is because I think we confuse motion with progress. If you're not moving forward, you are standing still. Now, of course, let's understand what I'm saying here. Because moving forward sometimes also means staying in position and planting deep seeds deep in the ground so that something bears fruit and has a strong foundation. So in moments like those, obviously you aren't moving forward per se, but you understand that you are taking actions that are going to help you to grow in the future. That is different from just doing busy work, non-profitable work, work that is not essential to the goals that you have set for your life, for your month, for your week, for your day. Because the thing that I've realized, if you're not like a very hardcore entrepreneur as yet, it is way easier to do the non-profit making activities, the busy activities, than it is to go after the bag. And so today I say to you, take an audit of what you have done even today. So have your activities so far been goal-oriented, or have you just been busy? If you are an entrepreneur, have you been about making offers, getting clients, telling people how you can help them? Or are you just doing the busy work, updating the website, responding to clients you have already responded to? A thanks with a you're welcome, with a thanks with a you're welcome. Oh my goodness, it never stops. Oh, are you doing, and I hate to say it, are you doing more voluntary activities than profit-making activities? And of course, we are supposed to be charitable. We are supposed to love our neighbors and cater for those who don't have. That's not my point. Of course, you've got to do those things. But if you have a business, you've got to be about profit. And so your activities, for the most part, every day have to be about getting profit, making your business work. So you've got to see whether, if not business, it could be in your career, in whatever you are pursuing. Take an inventory. And if you find that you are doing more activities that are non-goal making or goal achieving, you've got to eliminate or minimize them as much as possible, because they will not lead you to your goals. The last point, and it's one I've begun to practice again in earnest, the last way that we are stuck is this. We forget why we started in the first place. Has that ever happened to you? I mean, every time I fall in a rut, I have to climb back out by reminding myself of why I've got to put in effort, why I've got to get up and do the work, why I've got to keep on going. Sometimes we are stuck when we lose sight of our motivation. That's it. You know why the fire goes out? Because we forget why we started. So there's no motivation, no fire, no desire. What do you think will happen? You will lose the drive to even put in the effort. We get stuck because we forget why we wanted to move forward or in a certain direction. And so if you find yourself there today, listless, not knowing what to do, not wanting to continue, check to ensure that you still have the motivation. And if you don't, return to the foundation. Return to the basics. Remind yourself of that motivation, and I'm pretty sure you are going to get going again. And you know, if as a bonus, the thing that I do at that point, I begin to dream again. I begin to see myself in whatever, with whatever, in whatever state it is of winning that I'm heading to or I used to head to. So in your mind's eye, cast the vision again. See yourself winning in that area. See yourself with the finished product, with a line of people outside your business if you're that way inclined. You know, do whatever you need to get your imagination fired up again. And I'm certain you will get unstuck, because all of a sudden, the desire and the motivation, they are going to come back. And so I hope these points help you to stay unstuck, listeners. Sometimes, however, I think we can all agree we need deeper intervention. And I think that is when you need a coach. Don't you? I know for sure the number of people who I've coached back to themselves, back to confidence, back to focus, back to desire, and to find an inner sense of motivation again. That is the beauty of coaching and having a coach and you focus on you. So that's what coaching is. You and I looking at you and only you, not me. You and I looking at you. And so if that is you and you want deeper intervention and support, you need a coach. So if you want to coach with me, send me a DM, email me back, send me a comment or something, and we can get in touch. We can set up a complimentary connection call, and see whether it makes sense for us to work together, because I don't work with everybody and everybody does not want to work with me. So you know what I mean? So in the meantime, I'd like you to download my free resource, 7 Reasons That You're Stuck and How to Get Out of the Rut. The link is in the show notes. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye. Thank you so much for listening today. Now, I know that you prioritize your growth and success. So if you feel stuck in any area of your life, why don't you consider life coaching? My signature program, How to Get Unstuck Total Transformation, has helped so many professional and executive women to free themselves of limiting beliefs and habits, learn to love and prioritize themselves, set firm boundaries and stick to them, be more confident, move up exponentially in their careers, and become the best versions of themselves. How badly do you want to get unstuck? How badly do you want to be the best version of you? If you desire more, take the first step right now. Go to my website, lisamdublin.com/coaching, and book a consultation with me. Let's talk about your coaching needs, because the life you want is totally possible.